It's like
Look, that World Baseball Classic brought a lot of energy to the game.
A lot.
Yeah.
That was a good tournament. Whatever you call it.
Yeah.
This music means we're starting.
Oh,
I mean, you can keep talking.
should we shut up?
Nope.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are now listening to the Vibe Controllers Podcast. Murphy, Cocky McFly, Fifth Child, out here.
I mean, because there ain't no format.
It ain't.
Y'all
I
doing
mean,
it like,
it is.
you're doing it like comprehensive beat now. We had no format. It's like
No
start the
format.
music and let's just talk about some shit.
Yeah.
Oh, Con Air's on TV. Cool. So
It
this
was
is the
last
part
week, too.
where
That was awesome.
that was
Put the
right,
bunny back in the box.
Remember,
Oh, no.
remember last week when that shit was on?
All
That
that's
was
on
great.
me. No.
It's so bad.
That guy's the worst park ever.
Hey, but I do have a rule: no Ice Cube movies.
Oh, okay.
Because it
No,
was
are we
already
there?
there yet. Anyway, yeah, man. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Vibe Controls Podcast. I go by the name of Cocky McFly. We are so excited to have y'all with us this evening. This is episode 33, the last episode in season 3. Give some claps for that. All right. That guy across the
I
table
was
from
trying to
me.
help.
Wait, what kind of high class saluting?
Throwing
You're gonna,
claps.
oh no, we're gonna insert the claps later. It's, please don't. Please
We
don't
have
clap.
a CGI department.
We're gonna edit that out. Stop that.
You insert.
They're gonna edit us all the way out.
Right.
It's just gonna be them talking.
That guy across the table from me is my brother, Merk B. Williams. Merk, say hey to the people.
Greatness is in the building. Recognize it.
He's talking about
Bask
us.
in it. I love myself.
He is not talking about himself.
No, it's not.
Okay. All right. So we have some special guests in here today. We got our good friends, our brothers. We got my friend Garrett Lee, aka Silent G. Garrett, say hey to the people.
Hey to the people, what's up? Thank you guys for having us. The end of the third season. You know, it's normally the fourth season where everything goes to shit. So we need to end it pretty strong here tonight for sure.
You guys have set it up well to blame it on the white people.
Yeah.
though, so.
It's like,
We
remember when they had those two white guys on? Shit got fucked up. Season 4, it's nothing but white people, and it sucked. Yeah, we're the doc season now. Yeah, we're the.
They had a debate between Ashby Foote and Jeff Goodland.
And we also have our good brother Michael Milnick, aka Bloggy Bonilla. Say hey to the people, Mike.
Hey to the people, Mike.
Very nice.
Somebody did the shit right. That's why we kindred spirit. Thank
right.
you. Jeez, that's what you do on this last episode.
Did you put the Temptations on?
We did.
Oh yeah, you did.
So why you always on the road? Why you always on the road?
Oh, bro.
Blue did not die with no damn pan and short ribs on his lap.
This is the second time we had that movie
Fuck
on.
this shit.
Yeah,
Can't
man.
take it no more.
Ironically, Smokey still look like that.
Mm-hmm.
Look, man.
He drink pig's blood.
We gon' vibe out today. We don't have no format. We just gonna be talking and having a good time. Y'all stay tuned in. We out here. Look, man. As we said, we got our special guests in the building. We got Silent G, Bloggy Bonilla, man. And if you don't know them, they had a very, very dope podcast. They have a very dope podcast.
That's right. Bring it back.
Called The Comprehensive Beatdown. So kind of give us some background on how the idea came about, like how you guys started and why you wanted to do the podcast in general.
When Bloggy got to town, not his government name, when he moved here, you got here shortly. I was only here a couple years, I think, by the time.
Yeah, I got here in 11.
Yeah, we were here at 9, so we became immediate friends, and we just talked about music all the time. We are both very deep dive music fans, old stuff, new stuff, and he had experience doing radio shows and stuff. Back in LA, is that right? Yeah. So we just kind of tossed it around, and then at that point, Were you living? No, that was before you were living.
No, we started when I was staying with you guys.
Yeah. So he lived with me and my wife for a while, and we just we were like, let's do this, and had a little bit of equipment and sat around the dining room table for that first one, and did it.
Yep.
So that's just kind of the idea. Really is just, let's try this, and we did it. And then since we were, living in the same house, and our work schedules weren't as intense as they are now for both of us, we could, what we do, Tuesdays? Is that right?
We'd record on, like a Tuesday. We'd figure out an album we were going to listen to, right? So it was normally something coming out new. A few episodes we did like throwback stuff, but like anniversary episodes. But mostly it was like an album that's coming out in the next week or two, and we'd sit down, play the record, talk about it, and then that was pretty much it. There was no real format to it. We just talked about the music and what we liked or what was going on that week. Sometimes we talk about certain things we wanted to talk about, but mostly it was just about listening to music and talking, kind of like if you were with us and we were listening to it on the back, on the deck or something. It's kind of really the same kind of thing. We just cut up and talk shit or whatever, and we took the opportunity to try to introduce anybody that we thought might be listening to music that maybe they didn't hear about or didn't know about or wasn't aware it was coming out. So that was pretty much it.
Yeah, we would normally start the episode, I would play something that I was pretty sure he hadn't heard that was new, like some kind of just like weird electronic music or something. And then a lot of what we did was, like he said, albums that were about to come out or just come out, and a lot of like underground hip hop that most people wouldn't have any idea what it was. But I just had the little APC machine, and we just like trigger each song, and we just play the album and talk over it. Sometimes we would get very deep into the album, and since he had those radio show connections and all the stuff he did out in LA music wise, a lot of times he had really good stories about like knowing the artist and like being on tour with them, or like when he was doing that artist support stuff. And so that was awesome to hear, because a lot of those stories we've talked about and I've heard, but then a lot of times we'd play an album and he'd be like, oh yeah, we did these like 10 shows with them, and like I was hearing news stories from one of my best friends that I'd never heard before, and I really like that. That's all. Yeah, that's it. We just listened to albums. Our biggest episode, I think the only one that really got any numbers, was we did To Pimp a Butterfly like 2 weeks before it came out, because my bad. Yeah, but I think we were the first. I think we were like technically the first thing on the internet to review that album, because we did it completely illegally and shit. It was on like Apple Podcasts and shit.
We definitely were.
Someone should have stopped that from happening, but we had like, it was like 8,000 listens or something, but most of the listens were like, just listen to the first 4 minutes, and they were like, who are these jackasses talking about To Pimp a Butterfly? So,
what right do they have?
Yeah. And
so what it sounds like is y'all, these are conversations that y'all would have been having anyway, and you just happen to like, hey, maybe we should record it.
Literally,
100%.
Yeah, you guys have all been to that, over to my house, like in the deck, and hung out and listened to records and drank beers, and you just plop a microphone between us, and that was it. Yeah.
Would you say that your approach to doing it, because I think I even did an episode of,
yeah, you did one with us, that's right.
Where you just have the music playing in the background, would you say it's like Mike Judge inspired? Because like I'm thinking of the Beavis and Butthead approach, to where it's like,
I never thought about that.
That's hilarious.
That's like,
yeah, we always, the funny thing is like we called it the comprehensive beatdown because we wanted to be like true with what we said. And what was our logo?
Shout out to Chris Collinsworth. That's where we got the name from. Remember he said that on a Monday Night Football game. He's like, that was a very comprehensive beatdown.
I was like, dude, we should call our podcast.
I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
That's like, there's the name of the podcast.
And what's the Muppets that we use?
Oh, Waldorf and State.
Yeah. So it was supposed to be like that, but it ends up we just want to be positive about what we're talking about. So we never roasted anything that I could. Maybe when we had Fifth Child on.
Yeah.
No, we roasted him on everyone he wasn't on.
Right.
So it was 112 episodes of roasting Fifth Child. No, sorry, buddy. I can't help myself. But anyway, what did we ever really get into any? There might have been a couple albums we were excited for and then heard, and then we both
like
or whatever.
We were both like we wouldn't listen to the albums, like even though if we had it for a couple of days before the podcast or whatever, we wouldn't listen to it yet. So it was always like our first listen for the most part.
Very good point. I forgot that we did that. We always did
That
that.
authentic.
We did, yeah.
Right.
That's true.
So
That's right,
yes,
yeah.
there were a couple that I can't remember what they were specifically, but there were a couple where it was like, man, like you could tell, like 5 minutes into it, like we weren't feeling it, so we just start talking about the movie that was like Con Air. Like Con Air was because we recorded these during the day, right?
It'd be like 4 o'clock on a
so
Tuesday.
So
or
Con Air's on every other Tuesday at like 4 o'clock
Yeah.
on TNT or TBS or whatever it is. So like all of a sudden you just hear us talking about that or what, or that would take us into like Nicolas Cage talk or whatever, like, or we just talk about something else in the world going on.
The album, I keep playing it track by track, but we might not talk about the
But we
album
might
at all.
not talk about it at all. And at the end, we'd just be like, well, appreciate it.
Thanks for joining us. Follow us on our social medias. None of you follow us on. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Bye.
I think something else that's really cool.
Thanks,
I
Wade.
always tell y'all this when I see y'all is that y'all have lived some really interesting lives.
Wonderful life.
Yeah.
So, and it's like sometimes when I talk to y'all and y'all start talking about stories, it's like, who are you? Like, who is this person?
Yeah.
This was like pre 2009. Like, and I think that speaks to the music too, because you guys were on the West Coast. I ain't gonna say what Mike was doing because I don't know his man incriminating him on this podcast. But I thought you were about to reach over and shoot me. But I don't know. Look, just saying. But yeah, kind of talk about that, man. Like those experiences, kind of pre 2009, like concerts and just living on the West Coast in that scene.
I'll talk first just because yours is way more interesting. I can get mine out of the way real quick. Yeah, but I mean, for both of us, most of our whole stories like that revolve around music. Like he's about to tell you his stuff, which is fucking awesome. For me, it's just always been traveling around, going to see music. And I did a lot of putting on music stuff here, like local stuff.
Yeah.
That was kind of my second incarnation. But being younger, just being on the road, following artists around. Everybody knows I love Fish with all my heart, so like following them all over the country and like that kind of, so just those wild ass stories that go along with that kind of stuff. And then being involved, when he got back, you were like getting out of that, like, and
Right.
I was in the midst of like putting on rap shows in town and had the record labels, and we were doing all that kind of cool stuff, so I was into that. I'm retired from all of that now. Like I don't do any of that shit anymore. But I was just saying that, just to your point, so much of our relationship is based around music, and all of our stories revolve around music somehow. And that I think that did come through in the podcast and the way we talked to. Oh shit! Should not be banging this little thing around. Yeah, I don't know how to work a microphone anymore. Yeah. So anyway, so that's on my side. But you tell your stories because they're way better than mine. Way cooler.
I mean, to start off with, like I've always been like music's played a big role in my entire my life from like the time I was a kid, and so it starts off all a lot like that. Just going to shows. I grew up in Colorado, so going to Boulder to the Fox Theater, go Nuggets, and like you can see anybody in Colorado, right? Like you could see any kind of shows, and I did all that, and then through another happenstance, I met a guy that was in a hip hop group that was getting a little bit of traction out in Colorado. So then started hanging out with those guys a lot, and they were opening up for everybody from Exhibit to Most Def to the Roots to anybody that came to Colorado. They toured with them, right? And so they'd end up doing like 3 or 4 shows with them in Colorado, and then like I just traveled around with them. I was working the merch booth. It was a group called the Percussions, and so first I was just working like the merch booth and stuff with them, and they had such a dope live show, and like and they're all really good dudes, and so like I just kind of gravitated to like. I was really good friends with this guy Q that was in the group. That he's no longer in the group, or he's no longer doing music. He left the group before anybody even left Colorado. But so we were just doing shows. They were just doing shows with everybody, and I was touring around with them. I mean, we do like 4 or 5 shows with Dilated People and Ugly Duckling, and
God damn, Mike.
I mean, whoever, Souls of Mischief or Farside or whoever, and then just
You never heard these stories before?
No.
Oh
Just-
shit! I thought everybody did this.
just went around the state doing that kind of stuff, and then they started getting a lot of traction, right? So like people were paying attention. They put out a couple singles. They put out an album, a couple singles that were kind of getting noticed. And so they all went to. They started one by one. There was 5 guys in the group originally, whittled down to Q. My homie got sick, got diagnosed with MS early on in the group, and so he stopped performing. And so there was 4 of them, and then they kind of whittled down to 3. A guy named DJ Vajra was their DJ, who was a world-class DMC DJ.
He was the DMC guy.
Yeah, he won a couple
times,
DMCs. And so they were touring. They one of the members moved out to Los Angeles. Another had followed him. Only one was left in Colorado, and they went on tour in Europe. Emailed me when they were out there that they were about to. They were looking to get signed and do some big shows and tours and put some stuff together, and asked me if I wanted to come out with them. Another friend of ours named Mike, who started Basementalism in Colorado, him and Rez from the Percussions, a few guys started Basementalism, which is a radio show in Colorado at CU. They
One of the all-time best radios.
man, it is just great. Yeah. So anyway, I followed them. I went out to LA, moved out to LA with them. Went on tour with them. I got to LA the next day. We left on like a 30-city tour. Like we did 30 cities in 35 days. Called it the Don't Sleep Tour for real. Me and me and homie Hilton Carter was the other tour manager for it. If you've ever been to some Targets and stuff, you'll see Hilton stuff. He's like the plant guru now, which is a really weird place for him to go. But he's got contracts with Target and HGTV and stuff like that.
Wow.
But anyway, so we did that, and we toured with Insight and Edon and a group called Time Machine out of Boston. And then we did like every now and then at different shows, somebody would pop up and play. But so we got to make a lot of connections. And like all over the country, right? And so that was cool. That was and then so I had moved out to LA. I wasn't didn't have no job, right? But I was just kind of living with one of the other members in the group and working at a sneaker store part-time, and then started managing another group, which is an offshoot of the Percussions, named Due Process. And then they got a little bit of traction. They got signed and screwed over by a record label. So then, but we still did a bunch of tours, bunch of shows. Percussions went on tour with like Tribe Called Quest.
That was our first time.
The crazy thing is, like, back in the day, like we were touring with like Aloe Black and Blue. They were Black and Blue, a group called Black and Blue.
Yeah.
And touring with like all these guys that were kind of like bubbling, like, right, like Exile was trying to work with the group I was managing, like. Fashion, working with like Fashion and stuff like that, and some of those guys, and to see them coming up, I started working with a couple other DJs and stuff in LA. I got hip to like Kendrick when he first started up, like being in the studio when Tiff brought him over to show some people, him and J-Rock, because they were the first 2 people that they signed to Top Dog. And then Q came later after that, and Absol was like hype manning for Kendrick back then. And so being on like the kind of the edge of that, but what people don't tell you about like that stuff is nobody's getting paid, right? Like you're still hustling and trying to figure out your way, and like it's easy to fall into like old shit when you're trying to make it, right? So like you just fall out of love with, like, I got to the point where I was doing like a couple radio shows, a couple live shows. Guy that I was working with had like a Shade 45 show, stuff like that. But like, man, I just shit. Like you get so involved in it, like record labels owing you money, like promoters not paying you, doing shows for free, like artists trying to get paid, you're trying to get artists paid, and like you really realize that like management in that business, in the music business in general, is run by like 5 people, right? Like everybody, like it's either you get down with them and you cut them off like slices of like what you're making. Like in, management deals are normally 10-15%, max. And like I was doing the shit for 10, but I mean, I wasn't even really collecting 10 because like what we're getting paid on shows, we weren't making enough. So I was like, we were just putting everything back in like the group to try to get it, like keep it above. And so you just fall out of love with the shit. Like I was writing for I had a website. I was writing reviews I wrote like a couple reviews for magazines and shit back then. Did a couple I was getting involved in like the sneakers stuff too back out there. And like, cause I've always been kind of a sneakerhead. So like, I was writing, I was doing write-ups on sneakers and stuff. And, we were one of like the main like Nike stores in LA and stuff that I was working for. And potentially, and running really at this point. And man, it just like when the bills don't get paid, you gotta do other shit, and then sometimes that just whatever. And so eventually got to the point where like I just couldn't sustain that life. I sold like a lot of my kicks and stuff. Yeah. But I just love the music so much, and like when you're doing it for a job and you're not getting compensated for it, when you're still struggling, like you tend to lose that like that drive and that passion that you had for music and everything. And like I got like, so what I did get paid is in experiences. Like, so I could sit down, like I could really break it down, and I forgot a lot of this stuff. That's why in the podcast, like we'd be talking about something, or somebody would like something would happen or come on one of the albums, and I'd be like, oh yeah, that reminds me of this. Like so like, I did get paid in experiences and a lot of cool stuff, and people's numbers in my phone and emails and shit like I can talk to. But like at the end of the day, if it's not paying your bills, that shit's cool in the 20s, in your 20s, but you get to be 30 something years old, and like I ain't got no rich parents. Like I don't have like a retirement fund or no hedge fund or nothing. Like
I just wanted to go back to being a fan. I was like,
and
that's what I'm really good at.
That was
being
it
a
too.
music
Like,
fan,
like, bro,
and
like
I wanted to get back to that.
I can't describe. Like I love music. Like music does something for me, and like any kind of music, like not any kind of music, right? But like music that speaks to me, like
Travis Tritt. That's your all-time favorite
Travis
artist.
Tritt is Conway Twitty, Travis Tritt. Like those are pretty much
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Conway Twitty.
Ladies and gentlemen. But like so like what I found when I moved to Mississippi, I was born here, and so like I came back because I had family here, and I was going back to school or whatever, trying to figure all that out, and some other life shit happened. But like what I was able to find when I got back here, and I still remember it because I had a blog that I was writing back in the day called Key Beat a Lock, and so I started that kind of so I started that as like my way of like still getting music out, because I still had a decent amount of people that cared about what I thought about music, right? So that was my way. Like people would send me music all the time, but I'd only share the shit that I like. And so that website was about that. So through that, like I met Philip, DJ Young Venom, and that's how I met G and a bunch of other people. Actually, most of you guys through like that connect.
That first meeting at Chili's, that first night. Yeah, remember that? Me, you, and Venom.
Yeah. I remember that.
That's a whole other story.
I don't want to talk about that.
No,
My therapist and I talked about that.
Yeah.
Chili's on Broward or Chili's?
Yeah,
in
no,
Madison?
I'm Briarwood.
Right up here. Yeah.
Like right here.
Yeah, there's
just open too, so it was popping.
Well, let's just remember. I mean, there's an aspect to that story we want to talk about, but then first night where me, you, and Venom all met each other, and because you just hit us both up over Twitter, because I forgot to mention I was writing for the Free Press still at that time, so I had the in the Key of G column that I was writing about music every couple weeks. I always forget I did that shit. But yeah, you found me, you found Venom for that, and I think you found me because of Free Press and hit us up on Twitter, and then we met. And that was it.
So I remember, like the first thing I checked out was at Suite 101, right?
106.
My bad. Sorry, Jason.
Oh,
He don't care.
He don't care.
But no, it was what was it? J Live.
Oh yeah,
J Live, YG, dude from New York. Who
did we bring? I know Skip and Coke were on that.
But
show.
So but I did get to see Skip and Coke perform that, and I think Jason did like a song.
I think
Jason
he
was
might
hosting,
have.
but he did a song.
Only one.
Yeah.
That was one of the first
There's a
big
bunch of
shows.
Jay-Z songs playing that night, but I don't think he was doing that.
Man, God.
So, like,
Jason is a supporter of this podcast. We are a supporter of everything he does.
but so I wrote up on the website about like those 3 art. Like I wrote up about J Live because I love J Live's music, but like I really wrote up about because like that was my first time hearing like Jackson, Mississippi artists, and like when your first chant, like the first thing you hear is like Coke, Skip, and Jason.
Yeah.
Like it sets the bar really fucking high, right? And so out of that born like good friendships with those guys, and like Skip and I have become really good friends, and Jason and I and everything. But I wrote up about that and about and so I think a couple other people hit me up about writing up about that show on the website, and I kept that website going for I guess about 2018. I really stopped writing shit about it just because
You would go through phases where you would like crank out some content
Yeah.
and let it
And
sit
then
for a few months or something.
Yeah, because I really just did that, like we talked about, like because I love to do it. So if
Yeah.
there was something I wanted to share with everybody, like I put it out. But otherwise, I wasn't gonna put anything out. And
Yeah.
I'm a notorious hater of some music, so like, hey, if I don't hear anything I like for like a few weeks, I'm just not giving y'all shit, right? So
Team Trap over here.
yeah.
That J Live show was crazy because that was the first big thing that me and Jason did together
Yeah.
up there, and we got just enough people to pay J Live what we told him we would pay him.
Nice.
Because he gave us way lower than his guarantee for that, and I think the last person that walked in the door put us into where we didn't have to pay anything out of our.
So I know
pockets
they were
for it.
They were on their way to South by Southwest, right?
I think
In
so. Yeah, I
Austin.
think that was one of those.
Because I
yeah.
talked to what is homeboy's name from New York, the other rapper that was there.
I forget who
He
else
went by
was
a
on
different
that
alias.
show.
He went by
something else.
YU.
YU? Oh,
Was it? No. It was Y something, man. But he changed his name after that. Or he changed his alias. Like he was in the midst of changing it then, because he'd put out a lot of stuff back then. I'd actually wrote like a few things about him back when I was doing the other stuff. But so I talked to him, and I think they were either on their way to or on the way from South by Southwest.
They needed somewhere to stay for the night.
Yeah.
We were like, we can give you this smaller guarantee than you're used to and some hotel rooms. And they
Yeah.
were like, okay, that's worth it.
So
That was a lot of fun. Those Sweet 106 days were a lot of fun.
they were, and so that was
Kind
like when I was
post
kinda,
7 kind of area, Yeah.
Yeah, but that was a good introduction to like Jackson, because you know I was kind of out of the music thing and not really giving a shit, and then all of a sudden it's like thrust back into it just a little bit with this. But I was very cautious with how much I like dipped myself back into it. Like I only did shit that I like to do.
Yeah.
As we were talking previously, you guys have been all over the country seeing all type of acts, like musically, and you've seen people kind of rise up from the bottom and make it. And you've been in Jackson for quite some time, so you all are very, very familiar with the Jackson music scene, specifically the hip hop scene. Like, so do you feel like, or what do you feel like? Like, we have so much talent here. Do you think it's a location thing, or as to why they don't get the shine that a lot of other people get? Because often people say you got to go somewhere else to kind of get noticed, which I don't really think that's the case. Depending on who, I don't
It
know.
can be the case. It doesn't
Yeah.
have to be the case. What I'll say is, when I lived in Boulder from 06 to 09, go Nuggets. And the thing that we noticed out there was, and Bloggy mentioned this earlier, we stayed downtown Boulder, and you could walk to any of 4 venues that had national touring acts at them every night of the week. So you could walk up to Fox Theater on a Tuesday and see Cannibal Ox, and on Wednesday you could walk over to the Boulder Theater and see the Clips, and on Friday you could drive to the Fillmore in Denver and see Wu-Tang. Like, I mean, it's just like
That's
constantly that
crazy.
kind of stuff. Yeah. Because you have it's a crowd. Boulder's one of the like illest college towns in the country. So as far, and also a lot of white trust fund kids with money to spend. What's that? That's why Dion's there. Yeah.
Right.
Fuck sure. You don't mention him on this podcast.
Well, just that point real quick. I always say, and hopefully one of your listeners can come in on this. I'm the only person I've ever talked to or know that has degrees from both University of Colorado and Jackson State, because we've not found. I'm deep. I work at Jackson State. I'm in the alumni stuff, and I've yet to find a person that has degrees from both University of Colorado and Jackson State. So if one of your listeners has that, I would love to have an alumni dinner with you somewhere. But back to the music thing is like, you know, in a city like that, spent a lot of time in Boulder and Denver, and then we travel, me and my wife, and especially, and we traveled, the two of us, for shows together, and my brothers and friends and stuff. And we travel to see these big groups, or whatever, and you get involved in these like local music scenes. In Jackson, you know, it's always like these rappers from Jackson can't get put on or whatever. Well, there's a shitload of rappers in Jackson. Like there are so
in the
many
world.
goddamn. Well, that's what my next point was. Like in Denver, we were tightly ingrained in that hip hop scene there when we were in Denver at different times. At the time that I was there, good friends with a bunch of like local artists and stuff. And what I'll say is, you have all these national acts coming through. Some people can get out of there, you know, in front of big crowds or whatever. But even in these bigger cities where people get put on, even a place like Atlanta or whatever, there's still a shitload of local rappers who are never going to make it, even though they're in Atlanta or Denver or LA or New York or whatever. You know what I'm saying? It's like, when you think about making it and like who gets to make a living making music, that's a very, very small percentage of artists, and especially rap artists. And the dream is like, you know, it's like when you're playing college football and they're like, literally only 0.5% of you are going to be professional football players one day, and there's tens of thousands of you doing it in college, right? So I just want to say is like, people are like, oh, you can't make it from Jackson. Well, people have made it from small little Delta towns. People have made it, but very few people in general are going to make it. It takes like the right amount of work, hustle, talent, and just pure fucking luck sometimes. You know what I'm saying? So I just wanted to, and again, Bloggy can speak to this better because he was a lot more on the management side on a national sense, but everywhere I go, there's fucking local rappers everywhere. And it's not like every local rapper in Atlanta becomes famous. There's very few of them do.
Not at all.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of.
And then some of them get RICO charges and shit. You know, it's like,
bro, for real.
Yeah. So anyway,
like I look at it, so like Los Angeles does not support their own, right?
Some say that about Mississippi, though.
Huh?
Some would say that about Mississippi.
Right. So I'll draw that comparison to Mississippi.
But there's only like 3 million people in Mississippi. We don't have the numbers anyway.
Per capita, you don't have the opportunity, and you don't. What you do have in Los Angeles is you have communities that support hip hop. Like it's the Filipino community that keeps hip hop alive in Los Angeles and San Francisco and San Diego, really. Like they're the ones doing like the B-boy summits. They're the one doing like radio shows. They're the ones doing college radio. Like they're the ones supporting artists on college radio, which is huge. But like if you look, and I'm using that Los Angeles as like the example here, but like there are artists there that way more talented than anywhere else that get no love in LA or very little love in LA. You got Freestyle Fellowship, you got Living Legends, even Dilated Peoples to an extent. Groups like that, Blue, Aloe Black, who, you know, before he was singing, like, and a whole host of others. I'm forgetting 100 other artists.
No, you could do this for like 2 hours.
Right.
Yeah.
But what those artists learned early on, because they came up in like the 90s and early 2000s, is that your bread's really not where you're from. Your bread's overseas and touring, right? Because what you had happen in like the 90s, what happened is like the wall fell in Berlin and Eastern Europe opened up, and all these people were like just like wanted Western culture, right? And what they gravitated towards was hip hop, was like the Wu-Tang Clans, Hieroglyphics, Living Legend, like these groups, the Roots, like these groups can go over there and tour and make a living, like a good ass living, just touring in like Japan, Europe, stuff like that. So that all changed in like the late 2000s, because the reality is they don't support like the radio shit that we support here. They do a little bit, like Drake can go out there and get shows like that, but a a lot of artists realize that they can sustain a career by doing shows out there and in the Midwest. Souls of Mischief and Hieroglyphics and stuff realize, like Dell and all them realize, like, fuck, I can go do 4 or 5 shows in Colorado every year and make, you know, $50,000 a year just doing that. Because, you know, they do these big, you know, snow summits and stuff like that.
God, those snowboard shows.
Bruh,
Oh,
like they those artists get paid off of that.
MTV was on that shit in like the 2000s.
Right, like,
Yeah, the
like
X Game shit, they was on that shit.
Yeah.
Right, so to tie that into Jackson, there are artists in Jackson just as talented, if not more talented, than artists in other cities. I still contest, like Coke, Skip, Jason. I mean, there's
Fifth Child,
shameless plug. Not real shameless. It ain't my podcast. So.
He's trash.
Right, but there are artists in this city that can hold their own against anybody else. The problem is there's no foundation in this city to build off of, and you don't have a population to support that. Like in Los Angeles, they've got a population to kind of support that, right? I mean, it's millions and millions and millions of people out there. The Bay and Atlanta are really the only 2 cities I've been to, like, that really support their own.
Memphis too.
Yeah, right. But even that. I mean, Texas does, man. But like
Houston specifically.
They do.
Yeah.
I'll say that about them. Like Houston does. Texas does.
Yeah.
But not to the extent like the Bay. You can be a good ass rapper and make a living just staying in the Bay, right?
Yeah.
The Bay is the only place I've ever been to in a club where they play Too Short, Living Legends, Nas, Wu-Tang, The Roots, like all back to back, right? And the whole club would be jumping. I'm talking like it's packed. There's 1,000 people in a 600 person venue. Like nobody's fighting, nobody's arguing, nobody's pushing people out of the way to get to the bar. Everybody's loving one another. The Bay is probably my favorite like place in this country, like as far as like just places to be. Man, Oakland, but I mean, people talk bad about SF, but like San Francisco's cool. I mean, it's gentrified as fuck, but like you can find like
Everywhere
cool pockets there, right?
Yeah, everywhere.
I mean, Oakland is the place. Oakland, Vallejo, even San Jose, like that whole, all kinds of cool shit.
Shout out to Stanley Johnson.
All kinds of cool shit out there, man. But I think Jackson is just like you can't make it. It's really hard to make it stay in here, and what happens when you're these artists is you want to be loyal to where you're from, right? Like you want to build something where you're from, but if where you're from can't sustain you, like there are rappers that should have been signed out of here. Like there are rappers with record deals. There's producers with record deals that like shouldn't have been here, like should be gone. I can think of 10 probably that should be out like touring the country doing shows that would probably that would entertain a crowd in Boston, that would entertain a crowd in Minnesota, and get the opportunity to come back and then eventually like host those shows. But nobody cares about that shit anymore. All they care about is how many followers you have on Twitter. Like, so they don't get these acts don't get booked in other places.
I was just about to say, like, we're talking from a perspective of people that did this well over a decade ago.
Right.
Now it's
completely
right. And I don't mean to, like, I'm not calling you a boomer or anything, but I was thinking that as you were talking, as like, you definitely are now. Yeah. But I was thinking I was like, you know what? We've both been out of this for so long, not even that long, but long enough where the whole fucking thing has changed now. Like, what's that white kid from Jackson metro area that got
Prentice?
Yeah, and he's like playing a big show at Halamal's, or maybe had one last week, and I like saw the story. I listened to his song.
Who?
There's a kid, like a young kid with a curly hair named Prentice. Well, I think Scooter Braun might be.
It is garbage. And you know me, like I'm very. I don't like to talk bad about. But yeah, I mean, it was like I was like, and he was like in big publications. He's playing this huge show at Halamal's locally or whatever. He's in Rolling Stone. I was like, I listened to it. I was like, I get why kids like what they like on TikTok or whatever. Like, this has absolutely no redeeming qualities at all. So how do you like with how do you navigate the world with that, with one of your best friends who's one of the best rappers you've ever heard? The world doesn't give a fucking shit if you're one of the best rappers they've ever heard. I say it all the time. It's like those white dudes on SNL write good raps, like as jokes. You know what I'm saying? It's like, what does that even fucking matter anymore? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
for real. Like
yeah.
So
anyway, I was just jumping on your
that's
point
that's a good point. I mean, so like, what does it matter anymore?
Yeah.
Like, you have to your brother says, I mean, rap really needs to die.
It needs
Right?
to
It
die.
needs to evolve. It needs to evolve to something else because the hip hop culture is always going to be there, right?
The culture's always
the culture's always going to be there, but that music, which is associated from that culture, right? It's not a part of that culture anymore. It's something else. Like that's got a very short shelf life. You know, it'll be something else in 5 years.
I fucking love listening to trap music though with Burke over here.
But so trap music belongs in the I talk shit about it, right? But I mean, it still belongs in the hip hop culture because
it's on the pantheon somewhere,
right? Because it has elements of that. But what we're seeing, a lot of this other stuff does not come from that, and it's not grounded in that. So eventually, that stuff. So these other artists that like get big and like then they lose that fanfare or whatever, they've always usually got something to fall back on because there's still a culture underneath it that lifts them up, right? There's still a culture like, okay, well, I can at least perform for like 5,000 kids in like Boulder, right? Or I can still perform for like these kids in Minnesota, like, you know, who are on spring, you know, who are, you know, just coming off spring break or whatever, or go to Florida and play. But like, this other stuff has no sustaining or redeeming qualities to it, like G said, like it's eventually going to become something else because we've seen that since the fucking Beatles, right? Like
they were the scariest thing in America.
True popular music, true pop music sound has like a super short life that it lives, right? That's always evolving. Like fucking like in the early 90s, grunge was headed that way, right? And then you had punk headed that'd be punk pop music. You know, that's counter to what punk was all about, right? But you've got punk pop music, which was huge.
Nirvana paved the way to Blink 182, which is just fucking
which is crazy to
think.
But they did.
But they did.
And so you know, so I think what we're seeing is just we're kind of in that, and you know, falling back to Jackson, I don't know what the answer is. Like, I guess it's really like why you do what you do. Like, I know like why Coke and them do what they do, right? They do what they do to get back to the community.
Yeah.
I know why Skip does what Skip does. I know why Jason does what Jason does, right? I know why Steven does what he does, right? You guys are more community based than anything else.
I do it all for pussy and pills, but I'm not a good enough rapper to even write a song about pussy and pills. It's getting a little serious here.
I think as long as you're doing that, and I'll end it there. Like, as long as you're lifting up your community and your culture that you can affect, like, it's unfortunate maybe that the rest of, you know, a good majority of people were robbed from not having the chance to enjoy music or whatever it is, however it is. But I think as long as you're doing that, you will always find people that support what you do.
It'd be nice to get a hand job in a private jet every now and again. Just saying, Steven, you're going to disagree with that, fifth child? It's like this.
Steven, he kind of has to.
Steven, are you going to disagree with that?
He kind of has to.
So you don't want a hand job in a private jet? That's all I'm saying.
I mean,
that's a little over the clothes. Even some over the clothes. Oh man.
over the clothes.
It's been a great day, man. We finally got a contract for the people to come and pick up the trash. Shout out to was it
Richard's Disposal.
Yeah.
Richard Disposal, after he threatened to sue the damn people.
And you can't sue yourself.
And then they came back.
You can't fight a lawsuit with $400 in the bank.
So
Sure
this,
And $400.
so this is the part where we let Gary loose on city topics.
Oh.
We have
Ready, set,
Gary release amongst the people.
Well, it's funny. This one hasn't gotten me that worked up, just because it's just so fucking stupid. Like,
So stupid.
it's stupid to a level where it's like, I can't even put any emotion into this, because when you see it, and those city councilmen are like laughing as they vote against it and shit. The city sues itself. As Bloggy just said, they were like, the state auditor was like, yo, you literally have $388 in your legal fund right now. Like, that's not even enough to... There's a hand job joke there somewhere, but I already did one earlier. So, but no, I was like, the point is like, you just drive around the city and there's fucking trash everywhere, and like they had the dumpster set up on the corner, kind of around the corner from our house in North Jackson, and filled the dumpster up. People just start dumping trash next to the dumpster. They take the dumpster away, and people are just still dumping trash where there was a dumpster. And I was like, this represents so much. It's like, they used to come get the trash from our house. Now they don't. Then they put a dumpster up and they took that away. So I'm just going to put the trash where the dumpster used to be. Which, again, I get. Like, people don't want... It becomes a... If this would have gone on another week, the EPA would have been on this like they were with
It's
the
a
water.
hazard. It's
It's
pollution.
literally disgusting. And like one of you said it in the group text one day about the rain. It's like the rain washing all this.
that's what
like,
I said. Like
all this garbage juice
once
everywhere.
the rain
and shit.
gets on it, it's gonna,
Oh, yeah.
garbage everywhere, and the smell and
Smell
mildew,
like batter.
Yeah.
all of that shit.
But again, for a city of
Shit, it is. Batter snake.
Y'all know it. What is that? Is that the dog food
I
plant?
think it's a dog food
Dog
plant.
food plant?
It's fucking funny.
Yeah.
It smells like Byron.
Smell like batter around this bitch.
Byram does smell like failure. It really does. It just smell like
Just
life
making sure
going-
there ain't no more listeners after like season 3. Like
If you're
season
a
4
Mormon,
is like
you're in Byron.
You're in Byram or Collins, like you
if
are
you're
not.
a Mormon.
Yeah, but I knew the
Struggling
trash
rapper.
was bad because I came out. I was leaving the gym, and the weather was pretty nice. I was like, I'm just roll my windows down. Like, man, I smell like a dead cat out here in Jackson. But I don't know if it's the cat or the trash or
Yeah.
both.
So yeah, I'm glad it got resolved, because it was getting to the point. We have so much fucked up shit that happens in this city and this state, which affects us in the city. I really felt like I had a couple of those moments the past week or so where I was like, when does this hit the point of no return? Like, how much longer does this last that there's enough trash on the street that it's too much for anybody to even pick up? Luckily Richards picked up, was supposedly going to pick up stuff off the street today before they pick back up. Or your listeners will hear this in a few days. But anyway, I was like, do we hit a point of no return where there's so much fucking trash on the ground that it's just on the ground for the rest of our lives? That's the first time I felt any kind of despair about Jackson, because I'm me.
Yeah.
Love my city, normally very positive, and it was like, oh yeah, the water thing, it's fine. It's like, no, this trash thing just got. There's a gross level to it that isn't always there.
And I think that's the thing is, I was like, God damn it, man! Like, we can't catch a fucking break. Like,
Yeah.
the water shit, and you wait till it gets so bad that it becomes national, and then you fix it, and then you come right back behind it.
They ain't even fixed it yet either.
They ain't even fixed it.
They're still trying to. The state's still trying to steal that money from us. They're like, let's hold on a minute. We need to take a look at those books real quick. Like, yeah, we're trying to get.
You hear me?
Yeah.
It's mad crazy. And then now you got like the trash shit popping up, and this shit, like you said, it's super dumb because this could have been fixed 3 weeks ago. Like, just sign a fucking contract. Let's keep it moving.
Yeah.
It's so much other shit going on, but big suit man, motherfuckers is mad and shit.
It's a bunch of people fighting for power in a city of 160,000 people, that half of which
Don't give a shit.
don't give a shit, or also like, we're a very poverty-stricken city, so it's like, what power is it that you're really looking for? Like, there's not enough tax money here to even make you powerful.
What it feels like is like
You know the type of
elementary
power they
kids.
looking for. They want to get in free at 4th Avenue and Freeland.
It
That's
feels
the
like
shit that they
elementary
really
kids
want.
arguing who gets to be
It's
the line
clout.
leader to the
Right.
lunchroom.
Yeah, it is.
Like,
Yeah.
I want to read the morning announcement
For real. Like, that's
Yeah, but it's
that is
like
stupid
the
shit.
first in line to go to lunch at 9:45 in the morning. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You see what I'm saying there? Like the early lunch. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that sounds.
It's like, I'm fucking with everybody. Like, I get out of school early.
It's like, look at you peasants.
Fuck what you telling me. I'm out of school early.
You're going to lunch at 12 with this low key.
It don't matter. We still got to go to school, you fucking idiot. It don't matter if we getting out early or not.
Yeah, now it just stinks around here.
Right. And that's the shit that just pisses me. I mean, you got elderly people who they can't do nothing about that.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
And then the city's like, all right, we're going to set up some dumpsters here and there, but we're going to do it from 8 to 4. And you have to
8 to 2.
8 to 2, and you have to drive it over
You
here.
have to drive it over here.
so I got
Yeah.
to go on my lunch break.
Hey, so Other's
drive
never got
home.
to take his trash. Right?
Man,
Oh,
god
shit.
damn.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good
I mean-
word last.
Because no Uber's letting him put his trash like in the back of their car, right?
Unless there's some like former waste
he
management
loose.
truck. Oh shit! I can't believe we didn't think about this. Former waste management trucks
Hey, boy,
should have been
that's
running Uber. Like should have been doing Uber rides to take people's trash. It's like you can pick. You know, you can pick like you can pick the XL, the sedan, or the waste management truck. It's like come get me in my
They
trash.
could have cleaned the fuck.
Oh, I would have
Hey,
paid
man.
$10 to pull the handle that made the thing go. Like that pulls all the trash into the back. Oh, I would have been riding on the back, just like flipping garbage cans and shit.
I would have paid them to be able to ride in there.
Right.
Pull the head.
Fuck. Next time this happens, I'm calling up Uber. I'm like, look, I have a fucking idea.
I haven't really. Like, you guys want some exposure? I got you.
Yeah,
Check
we got
this
you.
out.
Yeah.
Drive me off in front of Offbeat. I'm just riding on that beat. What you need, man? Like, give me your trash. Stupid shit. Boy, that's a great ass idea.
Damn, I can't believe I didn't think about it. That's why Gary Corp's fucked.
That's why
we always come up with the ideas.
We are
today.
never gonna
Yeah.
make it, man. We have all these great ideas.
Literally,
like,
they
after
just
the fact.
They just got the contract like 8 hours ago, and here we are like, "Ooh, this has been a great idea." It was like 8 hours ago. That's shit. Yeah. So there you go.
Fuck.
We're broke again.
Gotta go to work in the morning.
Yeah, gotta go back to work.
That's right, bro. You were 8 hours away from quitting your job.
Not no more.
Not no more.
Shit.
It's like Mike call you at 7 o'clock. You call Mike at 7 o'clock. Hey, man, let's go. Let's figure out this. I got this idea about the trash. Mike said, you dumbass. They already signed the contract. Like, what? Like, fuck. Like, you fucked. Like, God damn it. Boy, that's...
When we had the podcast, that would have never happened. We
No,
would've
no,
got
no.
Johnny on the spot. God damn it.
We were also
Yes,
a lot
man.
younger, and our brains worked better back then.
Yeah, no doubt.
You don't think your brain work better now? Like,
I don't know.
or I think
It's
it
hard
just
to
works
tell.
for shit that you care about. Maybe.
I think it's still there. It doesn't. I don't supercharge it much anymore. You know, so it's
you
different.
just coasting.
Oh yeah,
You
just
hear me?
coasting.
That's beautiful, man. But you know, I always tell people, you know, just to make the choice to be a Jacksonian. You know, that's a choice, man.
Yeah.
It's you got to be able to accept a lot of defeat.
Yeah.
You get a win here and there, and I mean more there than here. But yeah,
That's what I always tell people is like,
that's what
Jackson kicks ass. Like just from the friends. Like there's a whole, all
absolutely.
of us that are like friends and know each other and spend so much time together. There's no others. We couldn't have ever met each other in another city. You think of like big cities. You go to like, hang out and, I was in New York City recently and it's just like how segregated it is, is like, I've never been in a place where I know more white and black people that are friends with each other than Jackson, Mississippi. You know what I'm saying? Is like, because we're just all around and we, support the local things or whatever. And I don't see that a lot of places. I was in New York and it was like, you go somewhere, it's just like, oh, another bar full of white people, it's like, look at that, and I know we have that here, but in Jackson, it's crazy. And it's like, those kind of things can never happen anywhere. So just going to people's houses and like the friends you make and, all that. For a lot of us, it is a choice, and always, I have to do my little woke moment here because for not everyone is it a choice. A lot of people are stuck here.
Absolutely.
They can't get out,
Yeah, that's
so
true.
but even then, it's like there's still something about being in this specific town. It's like people see us on this water stuff, and people from all over the country will hit me up and ask me about this stuff. And it's like, look, we live in the most dangerous city in the poorest state in the nation. Like, the shit's fucked up even without the water. You know what I'm saying? Is like, we know how to navigate this,
Facts.
And a lot of it is getting drunk with your friends and talking shit about it. And that helps a lot, for sure. Yeah. So,
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
This is a beautiful way to end the episode. Thank y'all so much
Thanks for having
for
us.
being on today. Y'all please give it up again for our beautiful friends Silent G and Bloggy Bonilla.
Woo.
And the views of Bloggy Bonilla are not the views of the Bad Patrol. Maybe.
We want to give you guys a shout out for hosting the first ever White Friends episode. We
Absolutely.
really appreciate
And
having
this-
us on there.
and
We
it's
are
gonna be-
officially all inclusive.
Yeah, the
Took
diversity,
33 episodes, huh?
the diversity
Took
problem,
33.
Every
Took
the
33.
Vibe Controller's diversity problem is officially fixed.
Well, let's be
now,
clear.
so,
It
yeah.
won't be another White Friends episode.
Y'all
Unless y'all come back.
We
Y'all are
them.
y'all
We
are
them.
That's it.
Y'all are them.
I mean, unless we have a rally of Catherine for mayor. I mean, I'm with that.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, no shit.
oh, bro.
Catherine, what did she say yesterday? She said that being the mayor of Jackson has to be the worst job in the entire country. And I was like, I'd rather work at a chicken plant. You know what I'm
Like, for
saying?
real.
It's like, that seems like it'd be way easier
Shit.
than being the mayor in
Man,
Jackson.
you got to
yeah.
deal with fucking imbeciles, buffoons on a daily basis.
At least the chicken plant.
Tomfoolery.
Yeah.
Terrible. Anyway, man.
Yeah.
Thank y'all so much for pulling up on us, man. This was episode 33, final episode of season 3. We appreciate y'all tapping in with us. Of course, you can always check us out on YouTube, Spotify, and SoundCloud. Make sure you join follow us on Instagram and join the Facebook group as well. We are definitely appreciative of that. Of course, as always, we are recording live from the Briarwood Art Center. Follow them on Instagram, join their Facebook group. Lots of dope stuff going on. Shout out to Fifth Child who performed this past weekend at the Jackson
Tattoo.
Is it Arts and Tattoo?
Art and Tattoo Festival.
Oh, how
Tattoo
was that? I
Soul
completely
Festival.
forgot about that.
Oh, it
Yeah.
was actually like very organized.
Shout out to
Yeah.
the Hendrixes.
Yeah, shout out to the
yeah,
Hendrixes
sure,
too.
yeah.
But we didn't get to come, but thank y'all for
Yeah.
looking out for us. But yeah, man, shout out to Fifth Child. Fifth Child, you performing somewhere else coming up, man.
So I'm hosting and performing at Mississippi Makers Festival.
Oh, yeah. When is
Okay.
that?
Mother's Day weekend.
Mother's Day weekend, right?
13th,
Okay.
Saturday. Yeah.
Do your thing, Fifth. Yeah.
CDC cut the check.
Already, man. So yeah, y'all check him out as well on our social media. Merc, what you got coming up?
This drops Thursday. Okay, so yes, Friday, Meridian. I'll be in Meridian on Friday for scholarship gather for Alcorn State, and Saturday, I don't know where the Bridlewood Madison is, but that's where I'll be.
The what and where?
Bridlewood, I think is the name of it. But anyway, we outside. It's an event outside the Madison County Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta. I don't know if they got a contingency plan or not. I'm not concerned.
Ain't it gonna be cold?
Here for the check.
The check.
So I'm gonna be out there kicking it, man, and
I hear
hanging
that.
out with them. I'm sure they got something figured out or whatever, so it's gonna be cool. So I'm looking forward to that. So that's Saturday. I think that's and a bunch of other stuff that's coming up too. So follow me on our social media, man. I'm busy.
Look him up on AOL Instant Messenger. It's very active.
Actually, you know what? Excite was my thing.
Oh.
The Excite chat room.
Okay.
I was in Yahoo.
The Excite chat room. It was lit now. I had a whole girlfriend in Washington State. Never met her. But anyway.
Never met her, huh?
Her or him.
Or him. You know.
There's some catfish shit. Right
I didn't
there,
know
bro.
now. I didn't know then what I know now.
It was literally a talking catfish. It's
like for real.
one of those things on the singing catfish on the wall. He was dating one of those.
Gee, Excite was a nice chat room, man. It was lit now.
Oh, fucking funny. All right, man. Also, June the 3rd. That is correct. June the 3rd. There's a dope event going on center stage. Vibe Controls in conjunction with the official 601 Live band, 601 Vibes. That flyer is dropping at the 1st of May. So y'all check that out. Cool. And then we also got some stuff brewing with the partnership with Delta Dirt Distillery as well, so y'all be on the lookout for that. Whole bunch of other stuff going on with the Vibe Controls, man. We just pushing the brand forward. for your support so we can pay for your chat. Anyway, as we always like to do before we leave, we like to leave you with a little nugget, little something to carry on through the day, a month, a year, a minute, whenever you're listening. And today, well, we've had 2 nuggets from several niggas on the podcast, but today we got 2 nuggets from 2 wiggers. Oh no! And let me tell you, 2 of my favorite people. So give the people something.
Real quick,
go ahead, bro.
Don't do a hard ER on the end of that. Like, please, we're in the room. Like, at least act like we're in here.
Wig up.
Thank you.
Wig up.
Okay, I appreciate that.
Wig up. Wig up.
Yeah, we like it with an AH at the end. Yeah.
My bad.
Shit.
With an AH.
Okay, go ahead with the nigga. It's just
I'm gonna let you go first.
No, you said you were gonna go first.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Go Nuggets.
Mine's a 2-parter.
Coming in hot.
1, find anything in the world that makes you happy and pursue that shit with everything that you got. Like, truly makes you happy. Like, fuck what Facebook and Instagram and TikTok and whatever it is,
because it's not
kids
real.
are using and these false these personas that you create in order to gain whatever it is. But find something that truly makes you happy and pursue that 100%. And the second part is find you a therapist, someone to talk to that is like a neutral person in the room, to just hear your bullshit that nobody else probably wants to hear.
That's what's up.
But that you need to get out there and you need somebody to listen to and bounce that shit off of. So those are my that's my nugget.
Come on, Rivers Daddy.
You know what I'm saying?
That's
I
alright.
gotta leave something for that kid other than my
Yeah,
fucking money.
Shit, look, you got enough, bro. That man gonna take over the world. He hell. Gary.
Yeah.
Nugget.
Well, Mike's were so good that I feel like I want to just. Well, I think I want to just do the opposite of what he said. So my number 1 would be find something you're halfway passionate about and barely try at it. So just get out there and find something that you don't really like, and then just give it half.
Give it like 13%.
And then, so you said with the therapy thing is like find a neutral party you can tell your bullshit to. Just don't have any bullshit. It seems pretty fucking easy to me. It's like, why pay someone else? Just don't have bullshit. So, those are my 2 nuggets of wisdom for you guys.
In true comprehensive beatdown fashion.
But go Nuggets.
But go fucking Nuggets.
Lisa Gentleman sweep in round 1.
That's right.
No, but for real, I just go out there and have fun. You know, it's like make people laugh and try your best. I have a job that I'm very passionate about, and I've had a career. I've been lucky through my educational career, and I'm a boring ass historian, but I really fucking love what I do. And so everything Mike said, totally. I don't have a therapist. I get drunk and like talk to the wall.
So that's not true.
Or us.
Rufus
yeah,
has a whole.
and you guys, yeah.
I mean, that could be, yeah.
But drywall listens pretty well.
That's
I will
right.
say that.
It won't say shit back.
But hey, real quick, also thank you guys for having us on. Congratulations
For real,
on the end of
for
the
sure.
3rd season. I know we fucked around joking about that earlier, but this is a big deal. Like
Appreciate it, man.
to get to the 4th season. I feel like there should be some cliffhanger at the end of this, since it's the end of the season.
Like I
It's
pull
like-
out a knife and then
Yeah,
the room
it's
goes
like
dark and then
which one of the white boys
No, I
got
don't-
stabbed?
No.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Who drank the most beer on this episode?
Well, that's
Well,
not.
that's how he knows that. But I don't know. I'm looking at these cans. Mike was giving you a run for your money with that 12 pack. I'm just saying.
It was only 12.
I drank the last one though. I don't
That's all
care.
that
Right.
Oh, my nugget of wisdom: always drink the last beer. Always drink the last
That
fucking
part.
beer.
Never let
don't-
somebody else drink the
No,
last
no, no.
beer.
Like push them away if you
But-
have to, and like don't be polite. Grab that bitch and drink it. That's
There you
what
go.
do.
That's gonna be. Here lies Garrett. He always drank the last.
He always drank the last beer.
Isn't today Station's birthday?
420, so
Or
Thursday.
420.
Yeah.
So happy birthday, Station.
I know.
When this drops.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. So when people hear this, yeah.
I want you guys to know this, but Station hated both of you
I know.
equally.
Station bit me.
fan.
The first time
He
met
liked me, though.
He bit me.
I ain't
Then
had
he
no
got
problem.
friendly after
She
that.
was
I went over there. Well, I won't say what I went to Garrett's house to do, but
I
I
know when she went to Garrett's house.
right, gay. I went to go and get a package. That gay.
Yeah. There's
That's right.
some kind of
Mail delivered.
seasoning.
That's right. I like it. I like seasoning.
Paprika.
That's
Yeah,
right. That's right.
Yeah.
Station.
But to
bit
be
the
fair, I
shit
lived
out
there
of
for like 3 years, and Station, for the last week, once Station found out I was leaving, she's like, "All right, cool."
Yeah.
Like,
She was
yeah,
cool
you're
with you though. She always, she was cool with you.
me.
She was.
Well, rest in peace, Station, the worst, best dog ever.
Absolutely.
Man, look, we appreciate y'all tapping in again.
Yeah.
So yeah, Merc.
Y'all stay up, stay blessed, stay free. Y'all share that shit.
All right, 2 fingers up means peace to the side because I'm chilling. And I don't know if y'all listen to the podcast, but we can't leave here until y'all do it. And if you want to know what it is, you got to say out here, but you got to say it like that. Out here.
First of all, Mike gonna do it. Oh God.
Out here. Okay, one in.
You gotta do it. If Mike did it, Mike don't.
Come on, Garrett.
I just knew he wasn't gonna do the shit. Come on, Garrett.
Out here.
Yes.
No. I know. No. Look, I know you motherfuckers have a very expensive CGI department that we just talked about. Fix that shit in post. Like, don't make me like act in here. Like, hook that shit up. Like,
What the hell are you paying Steven
Yeah.
for?
Out here. Fix it in post. Jesus Christ. I thought we were friends.
I
thought we
swear
were
to God.
fucking professional.
Steven, you got to put have him sound like a southern, have him sound like a southern pastor. Or something.
Out here.
like anything. Like,
you-
that's gonna be perfect.
I want you to have a little creativity here, buddy.
I'm giving you half creative control. You got it run by our legal department, but we are giving you creative freedoms.
It is hilarious. Cut this off. So we
I love you guys so much. Thanks for having us.
love y'all more.
What happened to Pete?